Hi all, with you Avranzet. Today I will tell you about the film Monster. It all starts with Chun Jong's demonstration, who managed to overthrow the government, and now he is the new king. Having suppressed any resistance, he establishes total control. After some time, the kingdom begins to spread the disease. To contain the infection, the king orders the elimination of the infected. All the peasants are being driven into huge pits. The woman begs to save her healthy daughter, ending up with an arrow in the back. 10 years later, Chun Jong hears rumors that in the mountains where the liquidation took place, people began to hear the roar of the monster, and sometimes civilians disappear, so the people are in a panic. And if the authorities do not help them, the authority of the king will be in question. In the middle of the forest, Yin with his friend's son and his adopted daughter Ming look out for prey, but without results. They can't even catch fish. Arriving home, Ming asks his father to move to another area, but Yun simply sends his daughter for vegetables. Seeing that some man is sneaking into the yard, Ming, aiming at the unknown, demands to introduce himself. His name is Kerr, and he came for a man who used to work in the king's personal bodyguard. Suddenly, she is distracted by Sun, and an arrow is sent to Hura, who dodges with ease. And at this moment, Ming realizes that Yin and Sun were the best warriors of the king. But Yin does not want to return. However, the king is already here. Long ago, Yin came to the palace along with a young girl who was asked to be rescued at the beginning of the movie. Yin demonstrated that not all people are contagious, which means that the king's order was reckless. The guards circle around the man, only Sun lays down his weapon to support Yin. As punishment, the king kicks out two warriors. And now, 10 years later, the king again needs the help of these two warriors, because only they can handle the monster. After a night of reflection, the warriors decide to return to the capital. At this time, somewhere in the forest, the shamans were trying to exorcise the evil, but they themselves go into the world of being. All this was seen by the surviving girl. Upon reaching the city, the family is amazed at the whole life of the people. After all, until recently the city flourished, but they are distracted by her talking about what happened in the forest with the shamans. Our heroes with Kerr go to the forest to inspect the territory. Yin notices the ropes on the ankles of the corpses, after which he interrogates the girl. She says that she saw something terrible, but there is no fear in her voice. Suspecting something was wrong, they arrange surveillance of the girl. The girl leads them to a man in black handing over a bag. San rushes after him, but the man manages to escape, and inside the bag was food that the girl distributes to those in need. When Yin approaches the girl, she confesses that she lied in exchange for food. Because of the rumors about the monster, people are afraid to go to work. But the girl believes that the monster really exists. After a while, rumors spread about a new monster attack. One of the bodies lay right on the tree. Not a single person is capable of this, but there were wounds from knives in the bodies. Looking at all this, Yin thinks that someone is trying to pass off the destruction as a monster attack and tells the king about it. The king orders to organize a search party led by Yin. The authorities are ready to provide no more than 100 soldiers. If they need more men, they will have to find them among the peasants. Ming was hiding in this crowd of volunteers. Then Otrad starts combing the forest, but finds nothing but pink goo. It soon gets dark, and Sun suggests turning around. But the commander of the Royal Guard Jin decides to go deep into the forest, because the monster is noticed exactly at night. Ming mentions that they didn't find a single bone while they were walking. So the monster is very hungry. In the dead of night, the old man separates from the group and goes into a dark thicket. In an attempt to find him, the group stumbles upon a fresh attack. There was an imprint on the ground. In another part of the group, Captain Jin gives the order to eliminate all the peasants and start a signal to capture the monster. Hurry buffs the soldiers, saving Ming from being eliminated, but the numerical advantage is not on his side. When everything is quiet, Jin says that the monster never existed. All this time, the king's troops deliberately eliminated the peasants. After all, while the peasants are afraid, they can be controlled. And then he orders the soldiers to throw Ming and her into the pit, but they miraculously manage to survive. Suddenly, a monster's paw appears out of the darkness. In a couple of seconds, the monster rises from the pit and kills Jin's people. While the monster is busy, the friends descend into the pit to rescue Ming and her. There, they see the scattered remains of people with blisters. They need to warn the king quickly before the disease reaches the city. Suddenly, an old man runs out, who has moved away from the group, and asks everyone to smear himself with the monster's slime, so they do not get infected, and wash away the smell of a person. After extinguishing the torches, he asks to be as quiet as possible. Not noticing the heroes, the monster just falls asleep, but still smells Ming and starts chasing them. Running away from the monster, the group runs out onto a cliff and jump into the water. Jin and a few warriors manage to return to the palace. He works for Prime Minister Sim, and he's puzzled that the monster really exists. To make people afraid of them, Sim gives the order to burn the whole city. In the meantime, he will take the crown for himself. To arrange a large-scale purge, Sim's people bring infected people into the city. There are secret passages under the king's castle. The old man says that the former ruler adored monsters and allocated a separate territory for them under this castle. And the old man was in charge of feeding the monsters and even became attached to one of them. And Chun Jong overthrew the king, then ordered the destruction of all creatures, but the old man helped the pet escape through a secret entrance. When the king eliminated the infected, they were fed by the creature, turning into the current monster. With the help of the monster's favorite toy, the old man drives the creature into the enclosure and closes the grate. Enraged by the actions of the old man, the monster pounces on him and kills him. After that, the monster easily breaks out of the cage. At this time, the Prime Minister promises to help those who have lost their homes to the flames. People think that he is a kind person and start bowing to him. Yin manages to sneak into the throne room and tell the king that the monster is real. But their conversation is interrupted by the Prime Minister with a bow wounding the king. The Prime Minister dumps his dirty deeds on Yin, driving the king along the way. Then, unexpectedly, a monster bursts into the hall. The guards try to fight back, but to no avail. In the city, Ming pretends that she has become infected and quietly unties. After a long battle, the guards still manage to immobilize the monster. Sim decides that this is the perfect chance to rise even more in the eyes of the peasants. You just need to bring it to people and destroy it. But the monster breaks out, smearing the guards in red goo. Each of them is infected in just 1 second. The trio decide to set a trap under the castle where the monsters used to be kept, but it needs bait to do so. Yin takes on the role of bait. Before that, Ming informs the civilians about the monster. She also reveals that Sim is the culprit in the recent arson. Hearing such words, the inhabitants push Sim into the palace. Yin fires a flare, attracting a monster, and Sun and her are placing the explosives. But an infected captain emerges from the shadows. Her pierces the warrior, but the captain does not want to surrender, and then Ming finishes him off. And then the beast attacks, and the group sets fire to the fuse, but it goes out. Yoon, asking a friend to take care of Ming, locks the door. Then he sets fire to explosives to take the monster with him to the next world. A new day is coming, and the inhabitants open the gates. Ming tries to find his father among the rubble, and notices something breathing. It turns out Yin survived the explosion, and the family is reunited. This story was written from surviving texts from the Chosun era. The end? By taking a flu pill, the laboratory assistant turns into a chemical weapon. Now a smell emanates from him that kills everyone around him. In order to save the population, the military is trying to stop it at any cost, but to no avail. The strong concentrated odor has turned into a poisonous smoke that causes equipment to fail. If he gets to the city, millions will die. You are interested? Then watch this video.